ممطرنا بل هو ما استعجلتم به ريح فيها عذاب أليم تدمر كل شيء بأمر ربها فأصبحوا لا يرى إلا مساكنهم. You have to be scared. When the people saw the clouds come together, what they did was they thought it was a rain. And then they said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, why are you so worried?" Because the clouds came together, it became dark. The messenger went into his room, he came out, he went back to his room, he came out, and then he said, "Rasulullah, it's only rain." And then he said, the people of Ad, when they saw the clouds come together, they thought it was rain that was going to come down. But what was it that came to them? It was a what? It was a wind that destroyed them. It was a wind that destroyed them. So pray the salah, inshallah ta'ala, based on the Prophet ﷺ statement, فَصَلُّوا حَتَّى يُفَرِّجَ اللَّهُ عَنْكُمْ. Pray until Allah removes it from you. So the salah is going to be at 10:45, the Shaykh said. Sah? 11 or 10? 10:44. 10:44. Inshallah ta'ala. So you're here, stay, don't go anywhere and pray. It's highly recommended that you pray. Highly recommended that you pray, inshallah ta'ala. نعم.
المقطوع وهو الموقوف على التابعين قولا أو فعلا وهو غير المنقطع. وقد وقع في عبارة الشافعي والطبراني إطلاق المقطوع على المنقطع الإسناد غير الموصول.
When the author rahimahullah mentioned marfu' to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that which is attributed to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he then went to what is attributed to the companion. And now he's going to go into what is attributed to who? To the tabi'i. And it is what is attributed to the companions in terms of what? Qawlan or fi'la. Remember the sahabi and the tabi'i. It's their speech and action that we want to know. Question: why are we so concerned about the sahabas and the tabi'in? Why? Why do we want to know them? Because of the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he praised them. What was the praise? خير الناس قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. جزاك الله خيرا. The best of generation is mine, and then the ones to come after, and then the ones to come after. How many generations? 3 generations. So those 3 generations is the Prophet's generation, the companions, and the students of the companions. They're the best. Best in what? Speech and action. The speech and action. So we want to know their speech and action. We busy ourselves knowing it. Are we all together, brothers? نعم. So this is what he means. وهو الموقوف على التابعين قولا أو فعلا وهو غير المنقطع. The mawquf is not a synonym of munqati'. Pay attention to this. Munqati', what did we say it means? Disconnected, right? Maqtu' and the mawquf, they are not munqati'. What happened was, some scholars, they thought that the maqtu' is a synonym. The maqtu', some scholars, they made it a synonym of the munqati'. Pay attention, the maqtu' is a synonym of the what? The munqati'. And from the scholars that did that was الشافعي الطبراني. الإمام الشافعي and who? الطبراني. And I'll add two more extra for you. And al-Humaydi, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, and al-Daraqutni. Are you with me, brothers? Is mawquf and munqati' the same? Al-Imam al-Shafi'i used it as a synonym, interchangeably. Al-Tabarani used it interchangeably. What did we say maqtu' was? Maqtu' is the speech or the action of a tabi'i. Lakin al-Imam al-Shafi'i and al-Imam al-Tabarani and al-Humaydi, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, and al-Daraqutni, those four, they use maqtu' and munqati' as what? As one and the other. Lakin, there's someone who went on the opposite side, and that is al-Barda'i rahimahullah. Al-Barda'i, Abu Bakr Ahmad ibn Harun al-Bardiji. He's of the opposite, and that is, it is not the case, but rather it is what? That it's what's connected. Okay? That it's what's connected, it's not a synonym, or it cannot be attributed to disconnection. نعم.
وقد تكلم الشيخ أبو عمرو ها هنا عن قول الصحابي كنا نفعل أو نقول كذا إن لم يضفه إلى زمان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. فقال أبو بكر البرقاني عن شيخه أبو بكر الإسماعيلي إنه من قبيل الموقوف، وحكم الحاكم النيسابوري برفعه لأنه يدل على التقرير، ورجحه ابن الصلاح. قال ومن هذا القبيل قول الصحابي كنا لا نرى بأسا بكذا، أو كانوا يفعلون أو يقولون أو يقال كذا في عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، إنه من قبيل المرفوع. وقول الصحابي أمرنا بكذا أو نهينا عن كذا مرفوع مسند عند أصحاب الحديث، وهو قول أكثر أهل العلم، وخالف في ذلك فريق منهم أبو بكر الإسماعيلي. وكذا الكلام على قوله من السنة كذا، أو قول أنس أمر بلال أن يشفع الأذان ويوتر الإقامة. قال وما قيل من أن تفسير الصحابي في حكم المرفوع فإنما ذلك فيما كان سبب النزول أو نحو ذلك. أما إذا قال الراوي عن الصحابي يرفع الحديث أو ينميه أو يبلغ به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، فهو عند أهل الحديث من قبيل المرفوع الصريح في الرفع، والله أعلم.
At the beginning, what did we speak about when we were talking about al-marfu'? That we said the marfu' is how many types? 2 types. What was the first type? Sarih. Sarih means what? Direct. Now we're going to go into the second type, which is what? Al-marfu'u hukman. That which is marfu' hukman. An example of marfu' hukman is kunna naf'alu kada. We used to do this. Kunna naf'alu kada. They're not attributing it to the Prophet, but they're saying we used to do something in whose presence? Next to the Prophet. It takes the ruling of marfu'. It's marfu'. Are we all together, brothers? Or for example, when they say, or if they say, kunna nara, we used to see this to be the opinion. Are we all together, brothers? All of those are what? They're not saying that the Prophet said it, but what are they talking about? They're talking about an issue that happened at the time of the Messenger. What ruling does it take? So we say it's mawquf. It stops at the companion, yes, but it takes hukmur raf'i. That's why it's called hukmi. Hukmi, why is it called? It is mawquf, meaning this sahabi hasn't attributed it to the Prophet. But he is saying something that is what? Ruling-wise, it takes the same ruling as a marfu'. Are we all together? We deal with it like we would deal with a marfu'. Does that make sense? Here the question is, here is the discussion amongst the scholars. What about, before I go into that, the scholars, they divided the hukmi, the second type of marfu', into how much? Into two. They divided the hukmi, the type which is marfu' hukmi, into two. That which happened at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it occurred in whose time? In the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time. Are we all together, brothers? And the second one is that which did not happen at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So two. That which happened at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that which did not happen at the time of the Messenger. Are we all together, brothers? Is the first one, is it accepted? Yes. Scholars accept it. That which happened at the time of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, and the Sahabas, they said, we used to do it at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then they say, we'll accept that. As a what? Marfu'u hukman. We will give it the ruling of what? What about if it was done after the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam? What about if it was done? Al-Imam Abu Bakr al-Barqani rahimahullah and Shaykh Abu Bakr al-Ismaili, he said, إِنَّهُ مِنْ قَبِيلِ الْمَوْقُوفِ. Go back to the kitab. You all have the books in front of you. What did he say? وَإِنْ أَضَافَ إِلَى زَمْنِ النَّبِي فَقَالَ أبو بكر. So we have وَقَدْ تَكَلَّمَ الشيخ أبو عمرو ها هنا إلى قول الصحابي كنا نقول أو نقول كذا إن لم يضف إلى زمن الرسول فهو من قبيل الموقوف. If he doesn't attribute it to the Prophet's timing, Ibn Salah is saying it's mawquf. Repeat it one more time. The ahadith that are attributed to the Prophet are two types: direct and indirect. The ones that's direct, we already spoke about. It's whatever the Sahabi says that the Prophet said this or the Prophet did this. Whatever he says the Prophet said or did. Remember what I said. Whatever the Prophet said or did, that's called marfu' sarih. It's direct. Speech and action can only be sarih. Like in the third thing that we take from the Prophet is what? Taqreer, right? Consent. A consent can't be sarih. It's what? Hukmi. Sahabi will attribute to himself. And he will say, I did this in the presence of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's not attributing this to the Prophet. Who is he attributing it to? It stops at him. But he's mentioning something that happened at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it happened at the time of the Messenger that the Sahaba says that we did this, then it's okay, marfu' hukman. It's taken and it's accepted. Are we all together, brothers? Yarhamukallah. What about if it is not at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Amr ibn Salah said, if it is not at the time of the Messenger, or he doesn't mention that it's at the time of the Messenger, then it said it's mawquf. It stops at the companion. It doesn't take the ruling of a marfu'. Okay? Like in another scholar came, Abu Bakr al-Barqani rahimahullah, and he made the matter even more complicated. He said, from his teacher, Abu Bakr al-Ismaili, that whether he attributes it to the time of the Messenger or not is mawquf. Doesn't matter. He doesn't accept the idea of hukm al-raf'i. Hakim al-Nisaburi came and he said, no, it's marfu'. What's my argument? لأنه يدل على التقرير, because it shows that the Prophet consented to it. If it was done at the time of the Prophet, it means that the Prophet consented to it. And Ibn Salah strengthened that opinion. What opinion did he strengthen? The opinion that if something is done at the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahabi doesn't attribute it to the Prophet, but he just says this happened at the time of the Messenger, that it takes the ruling of marfu'. Ibn Salah strengthened the opinion of Hakim. But what about if it's not the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? They said if it's after the Prophet's time, or it's not known whether it was the Prophet's time or not, it's mawquf. Don't give it that ruling. Okay? An example now he's going to give you examples of how would he say it at the time of the Prophet. And how would he say it other than that? How would we know that he's referring to this happening at the time of the Prophet? What words would he use? He would use, for example, كُنَّا لَا نَرَى بَأْسًا بِذَاكَ. We never used to see a problem in this. كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. They used to do. أَوْ يَقُولُونَ. Or they used to say. يُقَالُ كَذَا فِي عَهْدِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. At the time of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to say this. All of this is min qabil al-marfu'i. This all takes the ruling of marfu'. Are you with me, brothers? Or when a sahabi says, umirna bikada, we were commanded to do this. We were commanded to do this. No one can command the companion except who? An authority higher than him, which is the messenger. Or nuhina an kada, or we were prohibited from this. He's referring to who? The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. All of that is marfu' musnad inda ashab al-hadith. According to the scholars of hadith, they accept it. وهو قول أكثر أهل العلم. And this is the view of the overwhelming majority of scholars. وخالف في ذلك. The only people who oppose this opinion is فريق, a fringe, a group. منهم, from them is Abu Bakr al-Ismaili. A group, a small number of scholars, they went out of the mainstream opinion. وكذا الكلام على قوله من السنة كذا. And also the statement when they say from the sunnah is this. وهو قول أنس. And his example for this is when Anas said أمر Bilal was commanded أن يشفع الأذان. He was commanded to do the adhan in what? In even. ويوتر الإقامة. And he was commanded to do the iqamah in what? In one. Okay? In odd. Who's the one who commanded him? So we say the Prophet commanded him, alayhi salatu wasalam. We take it from the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. That's the first thing that we want us to know. Let me repeat it one more time. Whatever is attributed to the Prophet, it's two types. Note it down, take it easy now. Whatever's been attributed to the Prophet is two. Number one, that which is attributed to him directly. The Prophet said or the Prophet did. That's the first. Okay? Does everyone understand that? The second type is the Sahabi will talk about something that happened without attributing it to the Prophet. He doesn't attribute it to the Prophet. The Sahabi will talk about something that happened and he will not attribute it to the Prophet. Does that make sense? This one, the scholars broke it into two. They said, if he's talking about it happening at the time of the Messenger, then okay, we will accept it like it's attributed to the Prophet directly. Are we all together, brothers? And if he doesn't explicitly show us that it was done at the time of the Messenger, then we will not consider it to be marfu', or we will not attribute it to the Prophet. We will say this is his own opinion, the companion's view. It's mawquf, it stops at him. Are we all together, brothers? Is it crystal clear what I said? Examples of the companion stating something happened at the time of the Messenger is as follows. Okay? How would I know that this is something that happened at the time of the Messenger that the Sahabi is talking about? It's if the Sahabi says, كُنَّا لَا نَرَى بِذَلِكَ بَأْسًا. For instance, if he says, we never used to see this as a problem. He's referring to the time of the Prophet. كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. They used to do. He's referring to the time of the Prophet. Or كَانُوا يَقُولُونَ. They used to say. He's referring to the Prophet's time. Or if he says, يُقَالُ كَذَا. This is said, was said at the time of the Messenger. All of those is him, the companion, talking about things that happened at the time of the Messenger. He's not attributed it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's talking about an event that happened in the time of the Messenger. So what we then say is, it stops at the companion, but it takes the ruling of what? Hukm al-Raf'i. It takes the ruling of Raf'i. Also, another example that falls under that is, Umirna, we were commanded, if the Sahabi says. Again, we say, he doesn't say the Prophet commanded us. Rafa. Because if he said the Prophet commanded me, then that's clear, right? He is not saying the Prophet commanded. He said, I was commanded. Again, he's referring to which person is he referring to here? The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Okay, we were prohibited from this. When a Sahabi says that, who does he mean? The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. All the overwhelming majority of scholars of Hadith, they take it as we just mentioned. Except who? Abu Bakr al-Ismaili. He doesn't take that opinion. He says whether the Sahabi mentioned something that happened at the time of the Prophet, or whether he mentioned something that happened after the time of the Prophet, it doesn't matter. It's marfu'. Because we want him to directly tell us that he heard this from the Prophet, or he saw the Prophet do this. That's only marfu' for him. Marfu'. What the Prophet did, or what the Prophet said. That's the only thing which is marfu' to him. Are you with me, brothers? Pay attention. It's very important that we understand that. Now the author goes into something else now. He goes into, like for example, our mother, Atiyah, when she said, Umirna, we were commanded. Atiyah, when she said, Umirna, we were commanded, an nukhrij al-awatiqa wal-huyyada. We were commanded to bring out the women, even if they're on their menses, to bring them out of their houses for the Salatul Eid. Atiyah said this, right? Who commanded her? Nabiullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. For example, when Jabir said, Kunna na'zilu, we used to do quarterless interruption. Ala ahdi Rasulillah, at the time of the Messenger. Wal Qur'anu yanzilu, and the Qur'an used to come down. Okay? What's this? It's mawquf in terms of the wording. Because Jabir didn't say the Prophet said this to us. He didn't attribute it to the Prophet. So it's mawquf. Like in the ruling is what? Do you see my brothers? So you say mawquful lafzan, the wording is mawquf. Marfu'u hukman. Like in the hukm is marfu'. Am I making sense here, yes or no? Yeah? Is everyone with me? It's important that we focus here. What about? Now he goes into another issue, Ibn Salah. And Ibn Kathīr discusses it with him, which is, قَالَ وَمَا قِيلَ, also another issue again, which is, pay attention, which is marfu' hukmi. And that is what? Whatever a companion says in the tafsīr of an ayah. Tafsīr al-Sahabi في حكم المرفوع. It takes the حكم of what? مرفوعي. فإنما ذلك فيما كان سبب النزول أو نحو ذلك. It takes مرفوع. Just like the سبب النزول takes what? مرفوع. So Sahabi's tafsir of an ayah, his commentary on a verse. Are we all together, brothers? It's what? Am I making sense here? Now let me explain something to you, inshaAllah ta'ala, when it comes to the tafsir of the Quran, of a Sahabi. The tafsir of a Sahabi's Quran on a verse, and his understanding of a verse is broken into two angles, okay? When a Sahabi does tafsir on an ayah, it's not always marfu'u hukman. Not always. We break it into two. Number one, مَا لَا يُدْرَكُ بِالرَّأْيِ, something that could not have been found or could not have been reached by independent reasoning. Ijtihad and hard work could never have brought this answer. ما لا يدرك بالرأي. You could never have reached this opinion with what? Any ijtihad, an independent reasoning. Like for example, he talks about the unseen. Okay, he mentions an unseen. Then we say this is what? مِمَّا لَا مَجَالَ لِلرَّأْيِ فِيهِ. He couldn't have got the tafsir of this ayah from the unseen. He's mentioning things that cannot be, no one can know this by thinking so much. He has to have got it from the Prophet ﷺ. Are we all together? Point, stop here now. بِشَرْطَ. Shart. That companion does not take the Isra'iliyat. I have to underline that point. بِشَرْطَ. That companion is not known to accept and read the Isra'iliyat. If he's known to do that, then he would mention it here. Like Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, they give him an exception. Because he, the day of Khaybar, when the Messenger ﷺ drove the Jews out of Khaybar, drove them to Khaybar, and the Fath Khaybar happened, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, he didn't take spoils of war. He just took 2 zawiyah, 2 big baskets of their scriptures. And he read them. And he used to reference that. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Are you with me, brothers? So he might mention things that he got from there. Are we all together, brothers? Like in the other companions, it's either their ijtihad or the Prophet. Am I making sense here? That's one you have to understand. Second one is ما يدرك بالرأي. That which can be you can come to this conclusion by independent reasoning. You can look into the ayat. He uses مثلا عمومات النصوص, and he uses, the Sahabi uses قواعد الأصول and قواعد الفقهية, and he applies those things, or he uses the Arabic language and things like that. This is للاجتهاد فيه مجال. Independent reasoning and thinking has a place in this issue. فليس له حكم الرفع. This one can't be called مرفوع. Because he got it himself from his own ijtihad. He got it from his own ijtihad. ولذلك, some of the examples that the scholars give, that some of the Sahabas mentioned, without attributing it to the Prophet, is the hadith that's found in Sahihain, Bukhari and Muslim. That when some of the Sahabas, they said, a Sahabi said, تُقَاتِلُونَ, you will fight قَوْمًا, a people, صِغَارَ الْأَعْيُنِ, small eyes. You will fight people who are? It wasn't attributed to the Prophet ﷺ. What ruling does that take? موقوف لفظا مرفوع حكما. لا مجال للرأي فيه. Where did he get that from? Are you with me, brothers? نعم. Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim both narrated that. So anyways, a hadith like that we find there مما لا مجال للرأي فيه. نعم. Asbab al-Nuzul, what rulings do they have? Asbab al-Nuzul, anything we find that is Asbab al-Nuzul, what do? It's marfu'. Again, it's marfu'. Any Asbab al-Nuzul that you learn, give it hukm al-raf'i. Like for example, when Jabir radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, كانت اليهود تقول, the Jews used to say, من أتى امرأته من دبرها, anyone who comes to his spouse from the behind, في قبولها, from the front like him, جاء الولد أحول, the child will become cross-eyed. That's the belief of the Jews. That's what they said. فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَ. Allah then sent the ayah. Look what he said. فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. Allah sent down, he said, نِسَاؤُكُمْ حَرْثٌ لَكُمْ. The ayah. That's a marfu'. That's what? That's marfu'. We gave it حكم الرفع.